Welcome to this live event at the new iWorld studio at iWorldLive.com, and I have a lively person. I'm sorry about that, Nick. Here, Nick Mamalis gave a really, really interesting talk, an interesting subject. There is so much effort and so much angst over getting the biometry right, getting the implant right, but there seems to be this sort of ophthalmologic Heisenberg principle, and we can never get things exact. And there are things that we would like to change after the fact, after a lens is in place. And you're working on technology that can let us do that. Can I have you spell it out? And then I have myriad questions.
Certainly. It's a very exciting technology, and what this does is this uses a very low-level femtosecond laser, which can actually change the power of an intraocular lens that's already inside the eye. And so what the laser does is the laser can focally change the hydrophilicity of an implant. It's subsurface, and so it's down about 50 microns below the surface, and you can actually change the power of the IOL that's inside the eye. That's very important now, especially in this era when people have had refractive surgery, they've had LASIK, they've had RK. Now they're old enough that they're getting cataracts, and no matter how well we do the measurements, incorrect lens power is still one of the common reasons for having to exchange an IOL.
So, Nick, first of all, this is, I can't revisit the cataract surgery and put in some special modifiable lens. Is this a technology that is agnostic to the lens that the patient has?
Exactly. This can be a technology that can be done on a lens that's already inside the eye, a standard hydrophobic acrylic IOL, and even probably hydrophilic acrylic IOLs will be able to be corrected with this particular technology.
Now, I'd like to sort of get in the weeds here. I want to know how this works. So the femtosecond laser is not reshaping the lens. There's no ablation that's taking place. It's creating areas within the existing IOL that have a refractive index that's different from the medium that surrounds them?
Correct, correct. And so what the laser does, there's an ingenious technology, it's called a phase wrapping technology. And basically what it allows is it allows a high change in the power of an IOL with a minimal change on the surface. So if you were trying to change the surface curvature of the IOL, you wouldn't get as much of a change in the actual IOL power. But when you do phase wrapping, it's akin to a Fresnel prism that people are used to using on patients who have misalignment of the eyes, where this will do phase wrapping, and this will allow a large change in the power of an IOL without changing the actual surface curvature much. So more bang for the buck, if you will.
Now, I enjoy very much doing femtosecond laser cataract surgery. It's the vast majority of the cataracts that I do, and I know that when I do a capsulotomy cognitively, I know that there are individual pulses being made, but it looks to me like there is this continuous curve. What I want to know is, for the individual, for one of a better term, spots in the intraocular lens, does that form a continuous surface, or are these little vacuoles? What's it like?
It's almost continuous when it goes around. It's very close together, and as the laser goes around, there'll be continuous circles, concentric circles that'll be put on with this phase wrapping technique. And so it will give an appearance, when you look at the IOL under light microscopy, of continuous rings, basically, subsurface on the IOL.
Now, the whole point of the technology is to alter the refractive index within a part of the lens sufficiently that the refractive outcome is different. That means that there has to be some relatively substantial difference between the refractive index of the treated area and the non-treated area. That introduces an interface between the two. How concerned do I have to be with scatter from this interface?
Well, what we did is, in the laboratory, we wanted to look in vitro at the possibility of any particular changes. So we actually treated IOLs. We did light scattering studies and found that there was no significant difference between a treated lens and a non-treated lens. We looked at the MTF functions and again found no significant difference. We also looked at any difference in terms of light transmission. And again, minimal difference between a treated lens and a non-treated lens. And so we did not find any significant issues with the quality of vision that you're going to be seeing through the lens when we look at them in the laboratory.
Now, Nick, you bring up my three favorite words, which are modulation, transfer function. This technology, if I understand you correctly, is capable not only of changing the spherical power of the lens, but it can make a monofocal lens multifocal. So in essence, you can tailor the modulation transfer function with this laser?
Exactly. What you can do with the lasers, not only can you provide spherical cylindrical correction, but you can also add multifocality to an IOL. Now, similarly, if you have a patient who already has a multifocal IOL and they're having significant vision issues, dysphotopsias, glare, halos, and they can't function with that, you can actually reverse multifocality. We've done that in the laboratory also. We've added multifocal function, but then actually countered it and reversed it. And so you can actually add multifocality, but you can reverse multifocality if that's a particular problem with the patient.
So how how much amplitude of change can you get? For example, can I give up doing biometry and put a plus 18 lens in every eye and adjust them post hoc?
I'm afraid it's not going to be that wide, but certainly you'll be able to get, just depending on the setting, several diopters of change with this technology without significantly altering the IOL.
It's absolutely fascinating, absolutely crazy. I mean, there are this is I think this meeting this year more than in previous years. I feel that I'm living in like some science fiction universe. Really wonderful stuff, Nick. I want to thank you for bringing this really cool topic to us, for making what really is a very complicated topic very clear, for being so generous with your time, of which I know you have very little. And I want to thank you, our live audience, for joining us for this event with President Mamalis, and joining us for our new iWorld Live studio.
Thank you very much.